Now, once you've got your employees into Deputy, you can start with rostering. So this is all part of the schedule page, which we've moved on to now. Now, lots of things to see on this page. We're going to create some shifts, publish them out. We'll also find replacements and request some open shifts. Now, I'll draw your attention up to the top where we have different views. So we have many. We have some that are viewed by area and some that are viewed by employee. So depending on if you look from an employee perspective or if you look more coverage, you can switch between the two. Now what you notice for the areas, we have day, week, and 2 week. So day and week might be quite familiar, but we also have 2 week, which we've just introduced. So if you would like to map that to your pay run, if you do pay fortnightly, you can have them correlate between the two. With the employee views, we have day, week, 2 week, 4 week, and month. So if you do have rotating rosters, which may be the 4 or 2 week option, you can utilize those to ensure that you can have that roster set out, ready to go. So once you've got your view, you also have the date range next to it, along with the different locations. So if you have different location managers for each of your locations set up, you can ensure that they can just see the roster for the locations that they've been assigned to. Now, in terms of adding your shifts, it's extremely easy, and we've got a couple of ways to do it. So on this view, I can take someone from the left and drag them onto the page in any day, in any area. Now what you notice is Deputy does do a 5-point check whenever you're rostering. So you can ensure that training, stress profiles, leave, unavailability, and overlapping is checked every time you create a shift. Now what we can see here is Soph is probably not the best option. The reason being is she has put in unavailability for Thursday from 12 to 12. The other option is you can hit the plus sign in any area in any day, and you can select an employee for that shift. Again, we do that 5-point check. So the people here on this list, they're the best fit. So we've got Ali, Annie, Charles, Joshua. They're the ones that do tick that 5-point check. The ones down the bottom, not so much, and you'll be able to see why. Some aren't trained, some are stressed, and so forth. So all the times and the areas are able to be adjusted, and you can select save. So that's the crux of building your roster. You can start with creating shifts. If you do look at any color coding or would like to split out your view by different colors, what you'll notice is that for bar and barista, we have our color coding on. So how you can adjust that is editing each area and selecting a color. Now it will look a bit different depending on which view you're looking at. I will switch to the employee view so you can see how that looks as well. Okay, so we've got shifts in bar, which are color coded, a little maroon color in there. And we'll also have other shifts that are from different areas and we'll have a different assigned color. Now we'll switch back to the view by area for our week option. Once you've built your roster, you'll need to let your staff know of their shifts. And how we can do that is up on the top right, you'll see my yellow button that's telling me I have one unpublished shift. So if I do select that, it gives me an option about how I would like to notify my staff. Now the default is the email and smartphone push notification. You can do it as many times as you'd like. As it states, we'll send an email to them, as well as the smartphone push notification directly to their Deputy mobile app. We do acknowledge that some staff may not have smartphones or would prefer an SMS. So for those, you can request an SMS option. Keep in mind, we do charge 5 cents per message for this option. So you will see that attached to your bill. So once I'm ready, I can publish those out. So for the shift color coding, what you'll see is that the shifts that have been published are in green and the ones that haven't will be in yellow. And you can keep track of that different color coding system down the bottom with our legend. And you can also keep an eye on your area color coding, as you can see with bar and barista. Now, as you start rostering, because we have their wages set up in Deputy, if you have done that, what we'll see is a great stats bar on the top. Now you see lots of different colors on here, and I'll explain how they work. So the blue line is your wages. So because we know what times the employees are working, alongside the rates that they do receive, whether they're on the award or if they're hourly or salary, you will have that blue line increase and decrease. And it will tell you also every 15 minutes, as well as a daily total, which is up on the top left, and then a weekly total as well to suit those wages and those sales figures. Now, the great thing is with Deputy, we'll never expect you to start from scratch every single week. If you do have a roster that does change just slightly or maybe not at all, you can actually copy up on the top right. So we can copy to next week or future weeks. We can also use templates. So for those of you that do have rotating rosters that are set, you can use that 2-week or week or 4-week option and then save it as a template. So what that means is that you can pull that through anytime you need it. And then you can either use the employees that are in those shifts, or you can even save it as an empty shift and then assign your employees once you get to that month. So lots of options for you. You can automate as much or as little as you'd like, depending on how you do roster your staff. The last little section I'll show you in this is finding replacements. Now, it can be a big challenge to have a select number of staff and know which ones are on leave, which ones may be available to work or can replace other staff in the event they're sick. If you do have challenges with this, we do have our find replacements option. So as an example here, I'll grab Austin. So poor Austin is called in sick and I do need to replace him. I'll select edit shift and find a replacement. And it does work similar to the rostering. We do recommend staff that are the best fit to fill that shift. We won't show you anyone that is on leave or is unavailable themselves. So I can either select one or select all of these employees and invite them to work. So what it will do is send the email as well as the push notification and an SMS, given the sense of urgency. So it's a first come, first serve basis. If Annie comes back and says, yes, I'd love to work, and accepts it through her app, then all the others will be notified that she has accepted and the shift's been filled. So lots of options to utilize in here. We can even go as far as automating your roster in terms of auto-filling your shifts. So if you would like the helping hand with even assigning employees based on that best fit, feel free to auto-fill your empty shifts. There are a couple of questions we ask, things like keeping your costs as low as possible, or perhaps providing equal hours to each of the staff members. So once you give us that bit of feedback on what you'd like, we will then run all the smarts in the back end with Deputy to ensure that you can optimize your roster as quickly as possible with the least effort.